Hey, how are you? Hey, 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 what's up? What's up? Let's see. All right. I didn't set my thing up today. Okay. Oh, what's up? What's up? Ah! There's a lot of bees out here today. What's up, Asta? Yo, where you been at, friend? How are you? I did a late night live a few nights ago, and the regular crew was there. You wasn't there. And then in the chat, they were like, "Where's Aztec guy?" I was like, "I don't know. He usually gets on." Um, oh, what's up? I haven't seen you in a while. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for rocking with me. I I was just gonna do a quick part two. Yeah, I feel you. Likewise. Likewise, likewise. Well, it's good to see you. I hope that you're having an amazing day, and I hope that you're enjoying that Texas weather. The sun literally just came out. Like all day, I had my jacket on. It's back like cold in the mornings here, and then it was looking like it was gonna rain, and the sun literally just came out. Literally just came out. So I was like, okay. I was gonna walk down and see if this little food truck I'm starving is down the street from the library I'm at, but I was like, let me just get on live and like do a live real fast because I don't know if I'll be able to get on after. Okay, I'm glad you're well. I'm so glad that you're well. I didn't know if anybody was gonna get on because I've been doing live around this time between 1 and 2. Um, because after I pick my daughter up, it's just it's a lot. So I don't know if I'll be getting on, but oh, I miss you too. Yeah, I know. I was saying that like between this time, I'm like, Dag, nobody be getting on. I still just do my live, whatever. But I'm like, most people are probably at work, at school. It's that time of year. I just be killing time waiting for my daughter. But I'm like, if you catch me, you catch me. If you don't, you don't. It is what it is. I'm still showing up. Hi, Jess Jayla. I hope that's how you say your name. How you doing today? But yeah, if you're at work, like, hey, make it work the way that you make it work. I was gonna get on my live and do it. Hey, Ren. Oh, you changed your profile picture. I almost didn't recognize you because I didn't see the red. I'm good. I'm good. I'm just chilling. I'm hungry. I was gonna walk down the street to the food truck and see if they were there. I don't know if they're there, and then they didn't post on their page. But I just got on. I've been getting on live around this time, and I know my regular peoples usually be at work, and I don't be having the time to get on in the afternoon anymore, just because of schedule change. But I'm glad to see y'all. Oh, thank you, Smack. Thank you for loving my hair. I like for them to be quad locks. You're about to go to the ER. Why? Oh my goodness. I hope you're all right. Nobody got time for no ER. I hate the anything hospital. I hate it. But I hope you're okay. I hope that you're all right. Um, I mean, I could shoot this shit with y'all. I was just gonna get on and do a part two of my video yesterday. I was just talking about rebuking, rebuking people speaking negatively and projecting their opinions onto you and your about your capabilities onto you and your kids. And I was sharing my story time about how I've had to be the one sense of positivity and advocating for my daughter, because there's so many people that have like projected what they think that she's going to be and who she's going to become and what she can and cannot do, and how everything that doctors and then my family and her family tries to say that she wasn't going to be able to do, she does, plus more. And so how I did like a whole story time on that. So I was going to do a part two about it, because this morning I was listening to um, Joel Osteen, and he was talking about the some things that made me think about. Oh, I should do a part two of that, because I left that out, about how when people have their kids and they're always talking about terrible twos and threes, and he did like a whole sermon on it, and it touched my heart, because I didn't let people call my daughter terrible two and three, and I didn't experience no tantrums or nothing with my daughter. And I think that me, speaking life over her, and not, and the power of words, I did a whole thing about it. So I was gonna come on and do a part two, but let me talk to y'all. You have pink eye. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. At least it's only temporary. So yeah, go get that checked out and get you some cream. I think that the ointment works way better than the drops, in my opinion. But um, whatever they give you, I hope it clears up really fast. And I'm sorry you're going through that, 'cause that sucks. What's up, Art? I'm just gonna call you Art, because I don't want to mispronounce your name. What's up, Povin? Hola, ¿cómo estás, mi amiga, mi amigo? I'm good. I'm good. So, yeah, I was just gonna cover that really quickly. About, I think in my description I said dismiss the doubts. There's a lot of people that will speak doubts over your life and over your kid's life, and like, you cannot accept it. You have to rebuke it. You have to rebuke people's negativity. You have to rebuke their projections. You have to rebuke what they say is is your life, and how you're going to grow up and what you're going to become, especially if it doesn't serve you. Okay. And you also, for yourself and then for your kids, you have to always practice speaking life, speaking positive words, speaking positive outcomes, practicing patience, and always just knowing that just because something is delayed doesn't mean it's denied. That was actually my title yesterday. Delayed doesn't mean denied. And I was sharing so many stories about how doctors tried to tell me that because my daughter didn't hit certain milestones by their time frame, that she was never going to do it. And how she does everything that they say that she would never do, because she's on God's time. She's on her time. She's not on these people's time. And the same thing with her family and my family. I've just had to fight so many negative. I'm a fucking Power Ranger. I've had to fight so many different things, and protect my daughter and speak life over her and speak positivity and tell her that it's okay for her to develop on her own time. So I did a whole thing about that yesterday. I have to go back and see, because when I do my lives, they save as private, and I don't always remember to go back and make them public. But it was a really good live yesterday. And so today I just want to talk about another part two of that, of yeah, when I have my daughter's 5, but when she was turning 2 and turning 3, I always celebrated her and said, oh, you're a terrific 2-year old, you're a terrific 3-year old. And the amount of people that this pissed off was mind blowing to me. Like, why would you get so upset that I'm not referring to my daughter as a terrible 2-year old or a terrible 3-year old at the time? I know that that's the norm, but I rebuke the norm. I don't want to do anything traditional or average or normal, because I'm not a traditional or average normal person, and neither is my daughter. And I couldn't believe how many people would get upset when I would say, oh, I have a terrific 2-year old, and I have a terrific 3-year old, and I don't deal with tantrums. And I think it's because of the wordplay that I practice. And then I also would correct people, like when I had her birthday parties, definitely her family on her father's side, they will always be like, "Oh, she's gonna be a terrible 2-year old. Oh, she's gonna be a terrible 3-year old." And then they also would be like, "Oh, she's gonna be one of those kids. Like once she gets into school, she's just all over the place. She's gonna be one of those kids that you go to school, you send her this way, and she's gonna come home looking a mess. And I would have to correct them. Like, first of all, do not refer to my daughter with any negative words. Do not call her a terrible 2 year old or a terrible 3 year old. The word I preference that I like is terrific. She's terrific. She's outstanding. I only use positive words with her. And so I had to literally tell people how to speak in regards to my daughter, and I had no problem correcting them whatsoever. But they would get upset, and they labeled me crazy. Like, oh, India's crazy because like she's always speaking so positive about her kids. And I'd be like, that's weird. That's so weird to me because shouldn't I, like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, why are you getting mad about me speaking life into my daughter and over my daughter? And it would like frustrate them. It would literally like burn them up inside, especially my daughter's father's family. They would get so mad. And but the more that I corrected them, the more that when I was, at least that was I was when I was around. I don't know what they said behind my back. I really don't care. But over time, they started practicing the words that I use around my daughter, and that's all that mattered because you're not going to speak negatively over my daughter. And I understand why they got upset. I understand it because that's how you're raised. It's hard to break patterns and it's hard to let go of how you were raised if you don't think anything's wrong with it. And I was raised under the same circumstances, but the bullshit stops with me. At least that's what I practice. The bullshit stops with me, and I am all about breaking generational curses and traumas. And just because you were raised in a certain way doesn't mean that you, as an adult, have to practice that. You have the ability to change your life and change the things that you do at any given time, and then you set the examples for your kids. I was saying that yesterday. Like, you're your kid's first friend, their first teacher, their first advocate, their first support system. So if you don't set the standard and be the example, then there's nothing for other people to follow, and then you will just fall victim of however anybody else wants you to treat them. I don't believe in that like whole elder thing either, of like, oh well, they're the elder and I can't tell them how to talk or engage or interact with my kid. I don't fucking think so. This is my child. I birthed into the world, and you're gonna respect the way that I'm raising my kid. I don't care if you agree with it or not. And if you can't agree with it and you don't want to get with the program that I'm running when it comes to my kid and the way that I interact with them and the practices that I'm doing, then we don't need to be around you. And I think that a lot of the the things that I was putting my foot down and standing on 10 toes when it came to my daughter is why my daughter's father and his family did the things that they did to me, because they didn't like that I was standing up for my kid, yo. I'll take a lot of stuff when it comes to me, but when it came to my kid, that mama bear just kicked in, and I'm just like, no, this is how I raise my daughter. This is how I talk to my daughter. This is how I interact with my daughter, and you need to follow suit. And so I wanted to share that because just because you were raised a certain way doesn't mean that you have to keep the cycle going. And then don't be afraid to ever speak up. Don't be afraid to ever advocate for yourself and for your kids. And even if you have your mom or your grandma and it's just like, oh, well, I can't say something because they're my elder. No, you are a grown adult. And now you have your own kids. And if they don't want to get through the program because they're stuck in their ways, that's fine. But I would advise for you to not come around as much, because it's a form of disrespect. Like, if you're not accepting that I am no longer a kid, I am a grown person, I have my own ideologies, and this is what I do. And if you don't want to try to implement it or learn from me in some way, shape, or form, then how are we growing as a family? How are we growing as an individual? Because when I was a kid, I just, we were taught you couldn't ask no questions and you had to do it as you were told, and you had to stay in the kid's place. As an adult, I get those things, but then I also feel like when you have kids, they're not your property. They're little people growing, and you have to accept them for who God birthed them into the world to be. Like, you are the portal, you're the channel. So when you have a kid, yes, you are supposed to teach your kids and be the example, but you have kids so that your kids learn from you and that you also learn from your kid. Like you're not here to just like they're your property and they're your slave and your maid and your babysitter and all those things that some people do. Not everybody, but some people do. And I just don't. But I don't agree with those ideologies. I don't agree with a lot of things of how I was raised and how I grew up. And so I wanted to share all those things. Let me check in because I was just going on a whole little. Hey, Chris. How are you doing? My friend, I be live every day. I've just been going live earlier because I tried to utilize the time when my daughter's at school. Because, like, after school and, like, with my whole schedule change now, it's hard to get on, like, in the afternoon, and I haven't been doing a late night. But I've been live every day. I did a long live yesterday. I was saying that my live saves as private, and I'd be forgetting to go back and put them as public so that you can see that I was live. But what's up? How are you? How's your day going? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I was just talking about how you should definitely like take no shit when it comes to anybody in regards to your kids. And I was using a lot of examples from my own life when my daughter, thank you. You know what it is? It's the sun. That's why I got to get to Texas. It's the sun. Yo, the sun just came out right when I went live. It was cloudy. It looked like it was going to rain all day. Yesterday was like a beautiful day. All this week was actually like really nice. So I'm trying to enjoy it before it really gets cold and then the weather really changes. Um, the weather affects me. So when it's sun and the sun's beaming on me, like I felt like a million bucks. So thank you. Um, but yeah, yo, I speak life over my daughter. So I've never referred to her as a terrible anything because number one, anything that I birth is not terrible. It's amazing. And anything that I birth is going to be strong. I was sharing yesterday of how some stories of how I was feeling defeated when it came to my daughter. Like going to the doctors was dreadful. Dealing with when I the first year of pre-K was awful. Dealing with my family, the judgments terrible, and then with my daughter's father's family, was 10 times worse. You know what I'm saying? And I was sharing about how I felt defeated, and for a long time, I felt like it was me and him and my daughter, like against the world, against all these naysayers and all these doubters and all these people projecting about my daughter and her capabilities and like how she would never progress and do this and do that. And I was constantly fighting it every day, every second. And I had said I felt like I had this flower that was growing amazing, and every day I had to fight off all these people that wanted to just rip it out the ground because they don't like what color it was or how it was growing or how long it was taking to grow and how and my admiration for it. And then it wasn't until I believe like around 3, close to 4, that I realized I was fighting against this with my daughter's father as well. Because one day he referred to her as a weak link and how we should try again. And it was just like at that time I was also practicing not responding to being provoked and being chastised and patronized. Um, but that shit pissed me off. And I was just like, oh, wow, it's you too. You think negatively about, how can you think negatively about your own kid? Like, that told me a lot of stuff. I was like, damn, it really is just like me and my daughter against the world. And like, my daughter is strong. Like she's the opposite of what they were trying to project in my head. And I was saying, what if I would have started believing the doctors? What if I would have believed all the negative energy and the judgment that I was receiving? And I started speaking those things over my daughter, or I started neglecting my daughter in ways that these people are trying to tell me don't put in the effort that I was doing. Don't continuously prompt her or don't continuously believe that she's gonna do this or she's gonna do that. As far as speaking, like I've had a lot of my negativity come from like the things that they try to tell me that my daughter can't do, and she does all those things plus more. Yeah, Chris, he does say that. You said kids are out of control these days. You know what it is? I think that people don't pay enough attention to their kids, honestly, and they're so wrapped up in their jobs, and they're so wrapped up in their relationships, and they're so wrapped up in their devices and the internet, and they don't even put themselves first. Most people or parents, and so your kids are like getting the in scraps of you, and kids are not the best communicators because they're learning how to communicate. And if they're around people that don't know how to communicate or lack communication skills, like they can't express how much their needs need to be met. So they act out, and it's attention seeking in a lot of different ways. And if you don't have those skill sets to be able to recognize that, or you don't put yourself first, you ain't gonna put your kids first. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot to go on that. Like, I don't believe that. I believe that kids are amazing and they have like tons of energy and they need a lot of attention and they need a lot of love. And I practice that with my daughter. I practice raising her with love over lecture. And I think that more people should practice that. And I think that more people should let go of, especially Black people. I think that we should let go of a lot of the ways that we were raised and of how to interact with our kids, and to let go of a lot of the patterns and the predictabilities and the mindsets of like what it is to be a parent and how to show up and how to interact and how to discipline. I'm really big on like not hitting kids. So I get a lot of flack for like the things that I believe, but it works if you practice it. Hi Gideon. You want me? Oh, yeah. So I was just talking about that. We are in the last of the dying breed, unfortunately. Yeah, we are. Um, but yeah, as far as that man, I'm not gonna get too caught up on him. But yeah, one day he did refer to her as a weak link, and then he also a big reason of like why they locked me up was because they wanted me to hurry up and get her diagnosed. And one, I don't believe in diagnoses. That's why I always like at the end of my lives, I do those messages. They come from my life experience. I don't believe in labeling people because when somebody puts a label on you, then you live up to that label and not like who you were born to be. And you live in lack. Labeling allows people to live in lack and limitations. And I don't believe in any of that stuff. I believe that like if you hear something over and over and over again, whether it's true or not, most times it's not true. The more you hear something, the more that you believe it. So that's why I was making this video again, because I'm like, what if I would have believed everything that they were trying to tell me? Which a lot of it was judgment. A lot of it is like you're trying to rush my child's development based on somebody else's timeline. All kids are different. Everybody's different. Everybody needs their own time. It doesn't matter about this world that we live in now with diagnosis and trying to put people on the spectrum. And my personal opinion, I believe that everybody's on the spectrum. Everybody suffers with something. Everybody has some delay with something. Everybody has their quirks. Everybody has their needs and how they need to have them met. When we were growing up in the 80s, you didn't have a choice. Like you just had to do. You're just like pushed through. You had to grow up really fast. You weren't able to be a kid. You wasn't able to develop. You wasn't able to play. I remember getting beat all the time for like being a kid and like wanting to play. And so like I just have a different ideology of like a lot of stuff, and I don't believe that people should kill kids' curiosities or should rush their development or should try to label them. So that was a big thing of them not liking one how I interact with my daughter and the connection that we have, and me uh, giving her time to develop and not rushing the process. And then I also I also do a lot of research and development. So I was looking for the right alignment with a doctor that would do the diagnosis process in the way that I felt comfortable with. And so they didn't understand that I was taking my time. And that's the thing with like autism. Like I am autistic, right? And like understanding my daughter and like seeing the things that they're trying to say, like this is what makes her on the spectrum. I'm like, well, then I'm on the spectrum because as an adult, that's how I am. And I've been like this my whole entire life. I just didn't have an option. I didn't have somebody that shows up for me the way that I show up for my daughter. So like rushing, and I say like you're autistic if you don't like to be rushed, or you can't, or you have a schedule or a routine, and then something interferes with that schedule and routine, and it throws you off, and you can't quickly adapt. Then that means you're autistic. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I am. Like, absolutely not. I am a spontaneous person because I'm a Sagittarius, but I'm like a planned spontaneous. So it's like today is Friday. If I know on Monday I'm going to the beach, I know ahead of time, then I know that that's how I'm spending my day and I can plan and prep for that. If on Monday I have my own schedule, I have my own thing in my head, and then somebody just tries to interfere their plans on me and be like, "You're not gonna do this. We're gonna go do that." I will get frustrated. I will get upset because I didn't have a plan. I didn't know about it ahead of time. Energy wise, I have to prep myself for it. Is that what I want to do with my day? Is that how I want to spend my time? And then I had no plan and no prep with it. So it will throw off my day. It will throw off my mood. It will throw off a whole bunch of things. And so I was like, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Another thing with autism, and I was like, oh, this is me. I am still like this as an adult. They make a big thing about parallel play. So they would be like, oh, she doesn't interact with the group. Like she doesn't care about what the group is doing. She wants to do her own thing. And I was like, what's the problem? I don't understand. I'm like that as an adult. I don't care about what the group is doing. I'm my own person. I can play by myself. And if I want to interact, then that's my choice. But if you're trying to make me interact, I'm gonna get frustrated. And so they would say, like, well, that's not normal. You should want to interact and play with other people. It's not that it's not normal. It's just that most people can't be by themselves. Most people can't play by themselves. Most people don't like to spend alone time. So is it that I'm abnormal or these people are not normal because they always need constant stimulation from other people? You're trying to say that I need constant stimulation or my kid needs constant stimulation, but it's really these other people. Like you're mad that I play by myself or that I can spend alone time and that I don't have to constantly be siphoning other people's energy. I think something's wrong with those people. And you're not gonna label my daughter just because she likes to do her own thing. And then also the parallel play, sorry, I went off on a tangent. The parallel play is like say me and you are together in a room and we're sitting next to each other. We're playing, but you're doing your own thing play wise, and I'm doing my own thing play wise, but we're together. They try to say that that means you're on the spectrum because you're not sitting across from me and we're not engaging in the same activity, and that's not normal because normalcy is that we engage in the same activity. And I've had to explain to them like, well, I don't see anything wrong with that because if the time comes where we're doing something together, then I can stop and she can stop. My daughter can stop and interact with that when she wants to. But if you're trying to say that there's something wrong because we're sitting next to each other and we're both doing our own thing, but enjoying each other's company, I don't see what the problem is. And they couldn't explain it. And so they just tried to be like, well, the average kid, the normal person, would want to interact with the person across from them and do the same activity, not do two opposite activities. But as long as they're enjoying each other's time, like I don't understand. I don't understand what the problem is. So I was like, well, I'm like that as an adult, and that's probably why I don't have a lot of friends. And and I get my daughter, and I don't try to make her be something that she's not. And so even like at the playground, take my daughter to the playground. She don't be caring about what the other kids do. My daughter does her own thing. My daughter's a trendsetter because the kids like she'll slide down the slide and she'll be sliding down like on her belly. And I will hear other kids being like, oh, she can't do that. And I'd be like, why? And they'd be like, oh, because the normal way is that you sit on your butt. And I'd be like, well, that's what my daughter likes to do. And then you'll see all the other kids that were just talking shit do the same thing. So I've just discovered that like if you're autistic or on the spectrum and people are trying to say that something's not normal with you or something's wrong with you, it just means that you're a trendsetter. You stand out you're above average. You're not a normal person, and like you just have to accept it. And if people want to label it and say whatever, label it. There's nothing traditional, normal, and average about me. And when I'm doing my own thing, it bothers people. There's the people that it bothers, and then there's some people that it's like attracts. It's like you're an enigma. Like no matter what you do, you just can just be existing, and it bothers people. And then there's some people that just like want to be in your space because you're just like they don't understand is you're a unicorn. They're just like, how can you just sit here by yourself or like go out to eat by yourself or go to the movie? Like people won't do anything. They're the real people that's living in limits. They won't do anything unless they have a friend or somebody to do it with because they're too afraid to do shit by themselves or be in their own company. So I think that that's weird. I think that those people need to be labeled, not me. But I'll take the label. I'll take the label of my daughter and live my best life. So I think we're just fine. But I was just like totally floored that when my daughter was a toddler, I refused to call her a terrible 2 year old or a terrible 3 year old. And because I didn't do that, I never experienced tantrums with my daughter. So you speak that over your kid. Hi. Oh, yeah, no problem. Okay. You speak that over your kids, yo. And if you let other people refer, yeah, you're welcome, no problem. If you let other people speak negatively about your kids, listen, your kids are always listening to that. If you don't check that shit, they're gonna be afraid to check it when other people speak negatively about that. If they see you setting the example and not letting people speak and project their fears and their limitations and their doubts over them, they're going to be able to develop that backbone by seeing mommy or daddy do that. And they'll check somebody else when somebody else is trying to speak that shit over them. So, like, I never dealt with tantrums about my child. And that's my belief. My belief is that I didn't speak that over her. I never referred to her as terrible. I always referred to her as terrific. And when I heard other people do it, I nipped that shit in the bud real quick. And I never experienced tantrums. Never. And my daughter chill. She's a vibe. And I was saying yesterday about how they were making a big deal about my daughter and her speech delay. And I was like, well, just because it's a delay doesn't mean that she's never gonna talk. And that the other thing is that they were trying to tell me that she can't talk because she's not doing the back and forth conversation. And I was like, but my daughter does talk. Like my daughter, she sings, she dances, she talks all the time. And so they're like, yeah, but the receptive conversation is not there. And if she's not doing it by now, she's never going to be able to converse in a conversation. And I was like, I'm not believing this. Number one, you just told me that she doesn't talk. And when I told you that she does talk, you're like, well, I asked her something and she's not responding. So that means she don't talk. And I'm like, no, she talks. She's just on her own time. And I'm not gonna make her. That's another thing, as a side note. Spectrum, no spectrum, diagnosis, no diagnosis. People that are like out and like strangers, you know how strangers come up to you and they be like, hi, whatever. And it's like it's almost the norm to like force your kids to speak to people that they don't want to speak to. I don't practice that shit. Whether I have a kid that talks, don't talk, or whatever, I will never make my kid be like, say hi, say hi, say hi. Because you're trying to be a people pleaser. I don't live my life like that. And after this experience I went through, I will never, it's just giving me more strength to not be a people pleaser and care about other people's opinions. I don't think that you should force your kids to talk to strangers if they don't want to. Because what is that? This is like a programmed, conditioned, learned behavior. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't play that. Like, let me give you an example of what happened to me this morning. This morning, me and my daughter were waiting for the bus, and I had went in and got her some hash browns from Dunkin' Donuts. My daughter has, the uniform skirts on, and they have the built-in shorts. I usually put another pair of shorts on top, but I just learned from last year. I knew it was going to be hot today, and like layering her with too much can also cause like behavioral issues. So, um, and the built-in shorts with the uniforms, they're like so flimsy, and so like if you're sitting with your legs open or whatever, you can still see your underwear. So I put a pull-up on. Not that she needs it. My daughter's potty trained, um, no problem. Except for at nighttime, we're still dealing with that. But anyways, cross that bridge when we get there. So she's sitting there. My daughter's sitting down. We got the Dunkin' Donuts, and like she's sitting with her legs up on the chair and her legs open, right? And there's a girl, she's just staring at me, and I feel her. I know she's gonna say something, so she comes over and she was like, "Excuse me, um, can you tell her to close her legs because there's perverts around." And so, and then she got the other two ladies that was sitting next to me, like, "Oh yeah, yeah, make her close her legs, make her close her legs." And so I politely said, "It's okay, thank you though. I get what you're saying, but thank you. Don't worry about it." And they sat there in front of me and in front of my daughter and had a whole conversation, not directed at me, but it was a lot of indirect innuendos about, because they were upset that I didn't meet their command. I didn't please them and their command to make my daughter do it. I'm not taking the time to explain to them about my daughter and her needs and where she's at. Right? Yes, they were judging me, and I don't care. I'm gonna see that girl again next week, and I'm gonna explain exactly what I'm about to say to you right now. My daughter is where she's at, developmentally wise, right? Now removing that, all kids, whatever they're focused on, you should allow them to be focused on whatever they're focused on. Now, me, if I was trying to please that lady and worried about like, oh, this lady wants me to make me close my daughter's legs. If I was worried about that and I did that, my daughter's eating. She's focused on eating, and she's a kid. She's not caring about somebody trying to look in between her legs or whatever. And honestly, if she had shorts on, another pair of shorts on top of that, it doesn't matter. I have no control over somebody's in their mind and their imagination. And if they're a sick fuck, that's on them. I'm not making that my problem. And even if she had extra layers or pants and had her legs open, they're gonna think whatever they want to think, and that's their brain and their eyes and their fucking problem. You know what I'm saying? But me, if I would have tried to please this lady and be like, oh, baby, close your legs, close your legs, close your legs, my daughter's going to get frustrated because she's trying to eat and she's not worried about her legs. And then that would have caused a behavior issue with me right now. My daughter, she would have stopped eating, probably would have maybe had a tantrum or maybe started crying or threw herself on the floor or something. Is that lady and the other ladies going to interfere and help me calm my daughter down? No. So it's like me trying to please her. I could have disrupted my daughter's mood. I could have disrupted her focus. I could have disrupted her energy trying to please these women. And they had got so upset that I didn't follow their command. I just let my daughter like finish eating her hash brown. She was chilling and we had a good time. And it's not that I don't work on that with my daughter of like, oh, you got to dress on, like close your legs. But I work on that when that's the focus. That wasn't the focus. The focus is she was eating and I'm allowing my daughter to eat. You sick fucks are sitting here staring in between my daughter's legs. And all you're seeing is a pull up anyways. Like, so I didn't understand. I understand where they were coming from, but I just like I can't people please. And then the other girl who said something to me, she had left before I could say anything. After my daughter was done eating, I just explained to the elderly woman, like, I respect what you guys were saying, but I have different things going on with my kid, yo, and that's not my focus. She's cool. But I understand what you're saying. They're like, oh yeah, there's a lot of perverts or whatever, and I just went about my day, and I'm just like, I experienced that. Like the other day, I was at the park, and a guy came up to me. My daughter was like laying on the ground, and he was like, "Why is she doing that?" And I was just like, "She's chilling." And he was like, "Oh, well, how old is she?" And I was like, "5." And then he was like, "Oh, 5. Like she's too big to be just be laying on the ground. Like you need to make her get up." And he was like, "Look at my son. He's 2, and he don't do that." And I was just like, I just walked away. I'm not taking the time to explain, like, number one, all kids lay on the ground. But if my daughter has a sensory thing that she does, so the ground is cooling for her, it feels good on her skin. I'm not taking my time to explain that to somebody who don't even want to understand. You're just passing judgment. Or why did you even come? You didn't even say hi before you came over and passed judgment. You just came over here trying to wonder about what my kid is doing. Back to what I was saying, like when you're minding your business and you're just existing, it frustrates people who are miserable on the inside, and then they want to just come over and try to make you do what they feel how you should be living your life and how you should be doing it, like how they wouldn't do whatever, and they don't even understand. They're not even connected to energy. They're not even connected to like my daughter's grounding. You don't even understand. I'm not taking the time to make you understand that, yo. Right, thank you. Right, I get bare feet and I walk in the grass, like, and people don't understand it. Like my daughter's grandmother hates the fact that my daughter doesn't like to wear shoes and hates the fact that I let her walk around barefoot. She doesn't understand grounding. She doesn't understand energy. Shoes are not even natural. You're not even really supposed to be wearing shoes because it disconnects you from being in tune with nature. It disconnects your alignment. It disconnects a lot of stuff. Now, yes, as you're getting older, you understand that there's a place and a time for everything. But it frustrates her. She spends a whole bunch of time, like when she's in the house, she wants her to wear slippers or socks or do whatever. My daughter won't keep them on. And she gets mad at me because I don't enforce her rule. I don't care about your rule. If it makes my daughter uncomfortable, I'm not gonna force my daughter to be uncomfortable so that you feel at ease. Fuck that. And I think that everybody should practice that. Like, even with yourself, I'm not gonna live uncomfortably so that you feel at ease when you're actually miserable inside. And I'm over here just living my life and you don't like the way that I'm doing it. And one day she was just like, well, I guess I'm just gonna, at some point, gonna have to accept that y'all are country girls. I'm not even from the country, but whatever. No, you're gonna accept and respect how you're gonna respect my space and you're gonna respect my daughter's space and you're gonna respect how I let my daughter be herself. And that bothers a lot of people. Hi, Tip Top Health. I'm great. How are you? It bothers a lot of people when you live your life the way that you see fit. It bothers them. I don't know why, but you got to get to a point in your life where you don't give a fuck and you don't care and you live your life for you. You do whatever makes you happy. You show up. Don't be on anybody else's schedule or time frame. I talked about that yesterday. Create your own schedule. You need to get to a point in your life where like you wake up and you do what the fuck you want to do. You live your life for how you see fit, not for other people, because you're just gonna live in lack and limitation, and you're gonna live high. You're gonna live a life that you hate, and then you're setting that example, or you're getting caught up of how society wants you to live your life. That's why those are my messages at the end of my lives, yo, because they're near and dear to my heart, and it took me a long time to get to this point in my life. I think like being gifted with having time freedom. Like I'm a Sagittarius, so Sagittarius are very free spirited people. We don't like to be restricted in no way, shape, fashion, or form. And if somebody tries to take our freedom or restrict us or or make us live in lack, you're gonna see a whole other side of us. And so I hope that y'all were able to like hear me because my phone started ringing. What the heck? What's up, Access? Oh, thank you, Aztec, for the emoji. Yeah. You know what? The sun just came out like an hour ago. Um, I'm thanking God. I'm hoping that we have an Indian summer that is nice, at least for the rest of the month of September. But how are you doing? It's just nice today. Hopefully, it's nice for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I rocks with y'all. I fucks with y'all. But yeah, it's 2 o'clock already. I gotta wrap this up. But that was my message of the day. Like, stand up for yourself. Be your advocate. Be your advocate for your kids. Remember that you are your kids' first parent. Obviously, your parent. Sorry, you are your kids' first teacher. You are your kids' first friend. You are your kids' support system. And like even how we grew up, like people would be like, I ain't your little friend. Like, no, you are your kid's first friend and you are your kid's first teacher. And I think that you should accept that and build on it, girl. And it's not a bad thing to be your kid's friend. You want your kids to come talk to you before they talk to other people. Hello. You want your kids to always look for you first, then a stranger. And if you don't, then something's wrong there. Something's wrong with that ideology. Could just be me. Thank you, Asta. I don't know what to do other besides that. And if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. But yeah, like speak life, like rebuke other people's projections, rebuke their doubts, rebuke their opinions, rebuke their judgment. Don't even pay no fucking attention to it, and don't overly explain yourself. Don't do none of that shit because you're wasting your energy. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. Most people don't even care. They just like hearing themselves talk and they just want you to do what they want you to do. They don't care. They just get up and like walk away. Like my experience this morning. And I'm just like, no. And then I had to rebuke it and just like focus on my kid because if I can't, I just can't. Like having my daughter has really also helped me like strengthening my backbone. I've always had a backbone and I've never had any trouble standing up and speaking for anybody. Yes, I'm a mom. I have a 5 year old. I've never had a problem speaking up for other people. I always had a problem speaking up for myself, but I never had a problem speaking up for other people. So like it's taken me time to like get to a point where I take nobody's shit and stop being a people pleaser. And then having a kid amplify that, and then having a kid around people who like want to destroy her and be mean to her and talk bad about her and call her names, all types of shit. Like that shit just woke up a whole nother beast in me. So, um, but I've realized that even through all the things I've had to fight through, just me speaking life over my daughter and saying like, don't listen to them, you're fine, develop on your own time. I see it just my daughter is just like blossoming. And then you know what? There's people I've started to understand that my daughter is also an energy person. And if people are not good people, I spent the first 3 years of her life trying to prove, still people pleasing, trying to prove that she could talk. Because we would be like around her family, my family, and then when we go to the doctors, she wouldn't say nothing. She would not say nothing. Hi, Amy. And I would spit, I'd be like, please, I would be crying. I'd be like, baby, please. I'd be like, she can talk. Trust me, she talks all the time. When it's just me and her, she talks, she sings, she knows all her alphabet, she knows her ABC, she knows her shapes. At school, I had to prove to them. I would prove. I'd be like, please, baby. She would not. She wouldn't. And then we would be outside and I mean strangers and they'd come up and I'd start feeling nervous, like, oh gosh, they're gonna come up and I'm gonna have to overly explain like my daughter doesn't talk or she's nonverbal or whatever. And I rebuke that terminology. I was like, don't call my daughter nonverbal because nonverbal means no words. My daughter speaks. One day I realized that whoever my daughter feels comfortable around and whoever they got good energy, like she's just herself. And so I was like, Dad, like I'm around a lot of people who are not good people. That's how I started to like really realize like the people I'm around are not good people because my daughter won't be herself. She won't just be herself around these people. And then when we get around strangers, or like we had a really good experience second year pre-K, I had no issue. Like all the teachers, nobody talked about none of the stuff they talked about at the first year. But that teacher that I had didn't like my daughter. And so that's why my experience was the way that it was. And I should have took her out that school a lot sooner. So I just started to understand. And even myself as an adult, like if I don't feel comfortable around you or I don't feel like I can build a rapport around you, I'll be silent. I'll become nonverbal. You don't think that something's wrong with me, or you think I'm standoffish, or I'm shy, or I'm stuck up. But it's like I can read your energy. Like you're not a good person. I don't want to open up to you. Okay. So if you want to put me on the spectrum and say that I'm autistic or bipolar or whatever, it's just that you're not a good person, and I don't want to rock with you. So now my nonverbal capabilities kick in, and you can think whatever you want to think about me. So at the end of the day, we're all in the fucking spectrum, and we all got our quirks, and we all just be yourself. Don't feel ashamed about it. But yes, I'm a mom. You want to be the stepdad and pay child support? That's bad funny. Thank you, Amy. Yeah, I hope that what I be saying makes sense, and that's how I rock with it. You understand my tantrums and my rants, but it be something near and dear and shit might hurt. But it's 2 o'clock. I gotta wrap this up, and I'm trying to find myself something to age charge my phone so my daughter can use it. But I hope that y'all are having a good day. I hope that you drinking some water, staying hydrated, and enjoying the sun if you're on the East Coast while it lasts. And I'm just gonna leave y'all with my 3 messages. And my messages are always the same. One, don't let anybody label you. Those who try to label you want you to live in lack and not your purpose. And they see something in you that they don't want you to see in yourself. So they try to label you so that you will wake up and live and lead with the label and live in limitation and live in lack and not live in your purpose. So don't let anybody label you. Two, don't ever let anybody put you in a box. Those who try to put you in a box is simply because they cannot get out of theirs. And I wish I learned that way earlier in life, but it is what it is. Don't let anybody put you in a box because those who try to put you in a box can't get out of theirs. And if you allow them to put you in a box, they will try to put you in a ditch next. And three, don't forget to turn your life into a lifestyle. And you turn your life into a lifestyle by taking your life into your own hands and participating in your own rescue. Because absolutely, positively, nobody is coming to save you. You must save yourself. Okay. And if you are able to take time to tap into yourself more and out of the world less, you in return will save yourself from living the life that your parents want you to live, that society tries to create for you to live in, and the life that the school systems and the job systems try to mold for you to live within. And you were not born to simply work a job and pay bills and die. No, sir, no, ma'am. No, you are not. Okay. Don't ever let anybody convince you of that. You were born to live, not just exist. You were born for a purpose. And if you have not found out what your purpose is yet, you simply find out what your purpose is by figuring out what problem you were born to solve. And a big part of figuring out what problem you were born to solve is tapping into your creativity. And a lot of us don't know what our creativity is anymore because as an adult, I mean, as a child, somebody killed your curiosity. They didn't let you do the things that you like to do. They made you do what they wanted you to do. And it's a sad process that we all went through. And, you just gotta break that. You gotta break free from that. And if you are able to break free from it, you're able to help create space so that your kids don't have to get to a point where they have to break free from it in their adulthood. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's how you find out what your purpose is. And once you find out what your purpose is, you will live your birthright, which is abundance, prosperity, and a life of luxury. So, thank you. Me and my daughter will have an amazing day. I hope that you have an amazing day. It's always good to see you, Access. Amy, you're awesome. I miss your energy too. I hope that you had an amazing birthday. And woohoo, it's Virgo season for all the Virgos that I rock with. For the ones that I don't, I did a whole story time on y'all. But anyways, I rock with y'all. I love y'all. I hope that you have an amazing day. I hope that you thank God for giving you another day and the food that you're gonna eat today or already ate today. And yeah, stay hydrated, stay amazing. And until tomorrow's India talk, I hope that you stay blessed. Okay.